We're here live at VersiFlex Unboxed. I'm actually about to go into a panel live with some great content creators and influencers, and what you're about to see are some clips from that event.
One of the amazing opportunities we have with Sawgrass is to have such a loyal customer base that really truly helps us test and learn and expand our innovation. So today we have with us a few of our testers that helped make VersiFlex a reality. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around really quick, introduce ourselves, and then if you had one word that you could describe VersiFlex, what would it be?
Okay. Hi, my name is Judith. I'm from Lunelli. VersaFlex. The one word that comes to my mind is versatility. Versatility.
Hi, I'm Ivy from Ivy Pink Need, and my one word that I would describe VersaFlex would be adaptable, because it could go in so many different things.
Hi, my name is Jared from Heat Press Nation. If I had to pick one word for VersiFlex, I would say expander, not just because of the cartridge, but it really just like expands like your business and allows you to do so much more than what you could traditionally do with other print systems.
Hi, I'm Alex, and my word would be game changer, because I think it gets you outside the plastic box. Now we can do natural materials like cotton, which is revolutionary.
Hi, I'm Joel Lascano from New Jersey, Endor's Custom Labs, and my word would be freedom. I'm able to go ahead and go to any shop and actually pick up things. So I usually tend to go to Home Depot, and that's where I go and get my stuff.
Awesome.
Loving this.
I'm going to put a question out there. I'm going to start with Judith. How would you describe VersaFlex to someone who has never heard of it?
It's simplified. Actually, it's really easy to print. Just print, press, and you're good to go. You can press in anything, and that's the great thing about VersaFlex.
I love the fact that I can marry two different substrates together. So I'm loving the fact that I can put fence post backing and then also marry it with aluminum. So it's such a beautiful look, a 3D look.
I would say it's like the printing solution. Like if you're looking to customize stuff, like this is the solution for you. A lot of times we get calls at Heat Press Nation, customers like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And previously we had to either solve something really expensive or 3 different less expensive things. And now it's cool because now it's just a solution. It's like, hey, now you can get VersaFlex. So for someone who's looking for a lot of different stuff, this is a solution.
Excellent. Love that answer. What was your very first project with VersaFlex and how did it go? Joel, I'll go to you.
So my first project was a cotton t-shirt as well. And I did also have a problem, but it wasn't because I did anything wrong. It's because I didn't know that it was a hot peel versus a cold peel. So in my previous projects that I used to do is I'm so used to having a cold peel. So I'm like, oh, I'll leave it alone. And then I didn't know that I needed to rip it off hot. However, I was able to go ahead and actually repress my piece. And I always do what's called a little Joel corner fold. So that when I fold it, I can always easy to peel and just come right off. So thankfully, I left that fold there. And when I went to peel it, I always learned to peel away. And I held it and it just peeled right off. And I'm like, oh, it worked. Fantastic. Great.
So my first project was a cotton t-shirt as well. And I don't remember how long it took exactly to get it dialed in. It definitely takes a little more pressure, a little less heat than you think if you're coming from sublimation. But once I got it dialed in, and heat presses are different too, so that's important to know. Yeah. Your heat press might be different from mine. It was like every single one just came out perfect. And that is, you're right, it's such a good feeling once you get everything dialed in and you just crank them out.
Yeah, cotton t-shirt gang over here. So like, and I think that's just because that's what we all want. Everybody who's, we all want that cotton shirt. So I tried a cotton shirt, intentionally used the wrong settings. So I was part of the, like you guys, testing. And then I believe it was either Rhonda or Dimple said, hey, go crazy with it. Like, we need to know, we're still testing it, right? We need to know everything. So I was like, all right. So I saw the instructions and I was like, nah. So I pressed it. I went light. I did everything wrong. Lighter on the pressure, worse on the time, let it cold peel. And it was horrible. And I was like, okay, maybe it's time to follow instructions. So after that, and again, and I'm coming from it from the angle of like representing my customers who may not do it right themselves. So I tried a ton of different getting as close. And anyways, it took me a while before I got a good one, kind of by intention. Then with the got to the high pressure and the high peel, still wasn't quite there, but this is pretty early in testing. Had some other projects. Finally, my tech support manager says, "Hey, give it to me. I want to try." He comes back with a t-shirt that was immaculate. And I was like, "How did you do this? Like, I've been at this for like 2 weeks. How did you do this?" And he's like, "Oh, I just did low XYZ." And I was like, "Okay, hold on." So then I went back to it, and then I got my first just immaculate peel, and that did feel pretty darn good. Yeah.
So Judith and I were lucky to do our first project right here at Sawgrass. So we got all of the kinks out, and Alex came in like a superhero and was like, "This is how you do it," and it came out perfect. So then I think when we got home, we were basically pros. I'm just, no. So we got all the tips here and all the kinks out. So.
Yeah, so I was able to even like try to use it with my AutoPress. So that's one of the things that I know there's a lot of users that will use that AutoPress, and so I tried to figure out a way to do it, and I was able to do it, and I was so happy when I did my tote bag, and it just came out perfectly.
I love that. And that's really, I mean, we've used our community. We listen to you. That's how we make our products. And so, I mean, again, all the testing you guys did, everything you went through is why we're here today. So how has VersiFlex, I'm going to go straight back to you. How has VersiFlex changed the way you approach custom decorating?
It just makes it a lot much simpler. It's just simplified because I can just see something. I have a vision. I just get a vision. You know, whenever you see something, you see with something else or decorate it. And so you just go for it. And now we're able to just go for it because we are able to print on just about anything that resists the heat.
One of the projects that I just did recently was I had an old frame. So I was able to turn something that I wasn't even really using anymore into something completely new. And it looks totally new using cotton, which is something that you can go to, any store, department, or, like a Walmart or Target or whatever. And you can pick up something really quickly and then just make magic out of it.
Oh, I love that. Make magic.
Yeah.
All right, Jared?
Yeah, for me, and kind of putting on like my entrepreneur hat, like not so much the content creator hat, because as a content creator, like it's just so many new things. We can go to like Michael's or Hobby Lobby and just get a bunch of stuff. But as like a business person, because I do have my own like side business where I create and sell and use Sawgrass, I really am into kits right now. So now it's like, oh, cool, with the same printer, I can do the hat, the t-shirt, the mug, the tumbler, like. So I'm thinking in kits now, being able to present a full kit to a customer where they can get one of each product and they don't have to order 20 shirts, 20 hats, 20 mugs. They can order like just a one kit, two kit, like. So I'm thinking in kits now. I'm thinking in packages, and that's how it's changed it for me.
Yeah. So like Jared, I have a day job. This is it's a side hustle. So I'm not like, huge on social media like our guests here. They're, super awesome. But even while I was just in the testing phase, I had 2 projects that came up, not commercial, personal projects where this saved the day. So the first one was kind of a long story, but my wife was doing a thing where she had to decorate these like 30 or 50 pencil pouches. And the person who had ordered the pencil pouches had said, okay, they're going to be polyester. So we were planning to sublimate them. Turns out, no, they were canvas. So I was like, well, actually, I have just now a technology that I could do this with. And it was perfect. We cranked them out. It was wonderful. A few days later, my son, who's in the theater program, he was 13 at the time, not great at planning ahead, right? It's like, hey, for the show tomorrow, I need a t-shirt with this stuff written on it. Okay. Orange t-shirt. I didn't have an orange t-shirt. Guess what? We go to the neighborhood art supply store, $2, orange t-shirt, VersiFlex, and I'm done. Right. That would have been a big problem to do if we were just with limited to polyester.
Right.
So I think the answer to your first question, how has it changed? The answer to how it's changed is it's opened up way more products. So now you're not limited to just polyester, which has been such a limiting factor for so long.
So to echo on Jared's comment, the way it's changed for me is the fact that I'm able to go ahead and repurpose things that I have, that I can, and as well as Ivy, repurpose things that I've actually had. So funny story is my neighbor actually put her foot through my wicker table, and I said, "Oh no, now what do I do?" I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Joel Handyman's coming here. All right, cool. We're going to Home Depot and we're getting fence posts and we're going to put that on there. But you know what? I'm going to sublimate it. Excuse me. I'm going to VersiFlex it. I'm going to put a nice logo out there. And I'm also going to put some epoxy over it to actually make it pop. So it's very different. It was really cool. And I'm like, my wife was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool." I'm like, "Wow, where'd you learn to do this?" I'm like, "Got it."
So I've heard a lot of you guys kind of talk about last minute projects. I think I love that because I think what some of our users might be questioning is maybe the speed. So we know that we can get products fast, but I know you were telling me a story of a last minute thing that you did. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So my kids they know that we can just make a bunch of stuff at home, right? But of course they tell me like 20 minutes before the bus is coming, "Mommy, it's Dr. Seuss Day today. I need a Dr. Seuss. I'm supposed to dress colorful." And I'm like, "What?" So, I upload a photo, I print it on my VersiFlex, and then I press it. Literally, we had, I don't know, maybe still like 5 minutes to spare before the bus was coming. So, I mean, from the design concept, if you already have a design on hand, to upload, print, and press, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I love that. So we've talked about the fun things that can happen. I want to talk a little bit about some of the technical aspects of VersiFlex as a system. So I'm going to direct this question to Jared, starting off with you. What makes VersiFlex different from other technologies you've used?
For me, one of the, and again, kind of coming from like the sales aspect of things, is what you can do at the price point. That's probably the biggest thing because there's some people are familiar with white toner. It's probably the closest. I don't even know if it's a cousin, but it's probably the closest thing. But it's well over double the price. In some cases, like it's actually more like triple the price when you compare like the printer size. Like for example, SG 500 is coming in around 900 for the VersiFlex. Printing that same size in another system is gonna run you like $3,000. Once you go into white toner, once you go into direct to film, which is again not the same thing. Once you get there, you're already at like $2,000, and that you're no uncoated hard surfaces, no sublimation, anything. So it's like they can't even do what VersiFlex does. But even if you were to compare them, they're still coming in at so much of a higher price point. So for me, the biggest thing is what you're able to do in this size, in this price. There's no competition. So it really just stands alone. So that's one thing that just immediately was very impressive to me.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. You want to take a shot?
Yeah. To echo on what you said, I'm actually a consumer of the white toner printer, and I actually bought it. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, great. I'm going to do all these things." And I was very limited, and with the VersiFlex came in, and I was like, "Oh my God, wow, I can actually do this." And it was so versatile. And it was, again, the big word I keep using is freedom. Freedom. I was able to go ahead and use it on different substrates, and I can just simply just go to any department store and just like, "Oh, hey, you know what? I like that. I'll marry this with this, and I'll just pick this up as well. Oh, got a birthday. Pick this up as well." So I love the fact that it was just the freedom versus what I have to do with the white toner printer, and it cost me an arm and a leg.
Right. I'm going to keep on the technical thing. Alex, I'm going to go to you. There, obviously, with VersiFlex, we have our expander cart, which means that we no longer have the black cart. Katya, I know you've spoken to this already about the black printing. So I know that that's something that we've heard from our users is how does the black print? So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the expander cart and how the black comes out in addition to that?
We have, Sawgrass has amazing, just geniuses working for them. And the people who do the chemistry here that develop this product, there's no way I'm capable of understanding how this works. My limited understanding is that regular ink is mixed. It mixes the other three colors, cyan, magenta, and yellow, to make black. And then what is in the black cartridge normally just makes that black deeper and richer. So what they did, as I understand it, is adjusted the balance and the chemistry so that now the other 3 inks don't need anything extra to be added to them to make a deep, rich black. And therefore that opened up the other cartridge to put the magic potion in,
Right.
That now makes it so that it's like screen printing with a heat press.
Right.
That is, in my primitive and crude understanding of the very advanced technology that is at play here.
All right, Jared.
Yeah, so when we were first testing, we had this really great like poster style graphic that it was multicolor, looked awesome. And then when we were testing it, we're like, wait a second, but how's there was no black on it. So we actually just, in Photoshop, we made the whole thing black and printed it as one solid black graphic on the t-shirt. And I was incredibly impressed by how black the black was. Again, just experience with different print systems. Usually you gotta like fine tune the process black. First try, it just came out phenomenal, and it's just very impressive with how black the black was on that t-shirt. It had looked like you had screen printed like a super thick black ink onto it. And knowing that I didn't do that, knowing that it was VersiFlex was like, oh, this is really, really cool.
Right.
Yeah. Mention one more thing too about that is it's durable. I know like DTG, you wash it a couple of times, it starts flaking off.
Yeah.
The shirt I mentioned that I made for my son, he's worn it. It's not treated it well. It's been through the wash a bunch of times. It's still dark, rich black on there. So this isn't like, okay, it looks great and then it washes off. No, it sticks around.
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, black. Oh,
Yeah.
all black.
And it will be after you wash it 10
Yeah.
times. That's the cool part.
I love that you mentioned the wash fastness, because I know we've all tested with cotton, and we've gotten questions about how long will it last. Has anybody, I know you just mentioned, has anybody washed a lot of their products and, still lived to tell the tale?
My tester is my toddler, and it's her play clothes. And we made it here. It was a unicorn, so it has all the colors. It was a unicorn, and it has her name. So, and she loves her shirt, so she's asked to wear it a bunch of times. And when a toddler wears something, it's like dirty within an hour or two. So we've washed it a ton, and I'm happy to report all the colors of the rainbow is still bright. So yeah.
I love that. So one question we get a lot on social is the comparison between VersiFlex being a new technology and how that makes it compatible with sublimation. And so we know that the unique formula allows it to be sublimation compatible so that you can still get that range. So my question to the panel is, as you've started making things using the VersiFlex inks and your TruePick sublimation paper, how are you getting the quality between our SubleJet UHD versus VersiFlex?
So one thing that we found because we've tested lots of different sublimation printers, is that from every printer to printer, and not Sawgrass to Sawgrass. I'm talking about like Sawgrass to the other names we don't need to name them. But, printer to printer to printer, ink system to ink system, they're all different. Every last printer is going to have a slightly different look to it when you actually put it on. So we've done testing, and so they're all going to look a little bit different. What we found was that the consumer's they're never going to notice unless you're holding two, let's say, coffee mugs held up side by side that were printed out. Unless you're going to hold it side by side, you're never going to tell. Right, and that we found the same thing with VersiFlex in our testing. It looked great coming out. It looks great. All the colors come out bold, vibrant. You have the great contrast. Everything that Sawgrass is known for with sublimation, and it, of course, full transparency. It is a little bit different than SubleJet, but that difference is only noticeable if you're going to do the side by side, which no one's going to do. So, is it totally safe? And yes, should everybody be using it? Go for it. Like it's going to be great retail quality, just like any other Sawgrass product, which was really surprising and really encouraging for us, because that was a big concern. It's like, okay, it does cotton so good. Is it really going to do sublimation so good? And it did, and that was really awesome to find.
I just want to tag onto that. So when you are talking about, okay, color, what is the standard, right? I mean, the printing standard for decades has been Pantone colors. And I can tell you, if you work with professional printers and you have one company print something with Pantone color XYZ and another printer use the same, it's going to be different, right? There's no such thing as identical color from any vendor, from any technology. So the point is, does it look good? Right?
Yes.
And that is the point. It looks really, really good. It doesn't have to be identical to anything else. If it's, I mean, some indistinguishable shade, you know, it's hard even to describe. Well, the green is a little more, whatever, but it looks great. So, you know, it's well within professional parameters, in my opinion.
Great. My last question for the panel is, what's the most unexpected thing that you've created with VersiFlex?
I was so excited to just do ceramic. That was one of the things that you can do ceramic, the little coasters, and just being able to decorate anything at home. Placemats. It just because last time I actually posted a video about doing sublimation on a placemat, and I was like looking for sublimation blank for this placemat, and now like I see old placements, I'm like, I can do that pink, I can do this one, and so that it is fun. But ceramic is just being one of the things that I've been wanting to do, and it doesn't have to be coated, so it's exciting.
Yeah, love that.
One of the really fun projects that we did, and I was deceived again when I saw the sample today. It was a new one. We had printed on uncoated wood, but it was like a brown color, and I thought that it was like a laser. Remember? And then I touched it, and it was still VersiFlex. It wasn't laser, but it looked totally like laser. So I think that it's amazing, like how it could look like that, but it's so much easier.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm going to cheat a little bit with my answer, because my answer is cotton shirt, right? Because that's not a weird product, but it is unexpected if you're used to sublimation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think right now there's, I think, a general awareness of, you know, what are we putting in our bodies? What are we putting on our bodies? People are kind of wanting to get away from the synthetic fabrics and the plastic type products. And now, as everybody's mentioned, you can do that. You can have your organic cotton, you can have your untreated wood, you can have these natural products, and you're not reliant on a coating of polymers, you know, that, you know, in theory, it's all perfectly safe, right? But if you're trying to minimize how much plastic you have in your life, like, here's a great way to do it and still make it your own, make those gifts for people, right? I think one of the things that philosophically, even like, that I love about this type of technology is it allows you to create things in the physical world, right? So much of our lives right now are in these screens. It's digital, right? Our photos are digital, this and that. So this is something you can make and hand it to somebody and say, hey, I care about you. Here's something that I made for you. And now you can do that with materials that are natural, and it still looks beautiful. That to me is amazing.
So now for everyone that's joined, we're going to open up a live Q&A for you guys. We're going to bring on our expert, Rhonda. I'm sure you recognize her. She's the best person to answer some of your questions, but also feel free to ask our panel as well. So I'm going to take a step off, but thank you guys so much for joining us.
All right, so I do have a few questions for y'all. So first of all, one of the people in the chat is wondering about how large of a project you can do. So what's the largest you've done, and does it make it harder to peel if it's a little bit larger, or even to place?
Well, today my project was tabloid size, and it was a little tote bag, and it covered from like top to bottom, and it wasn't really that much harder to peel. You just have to hot peel fast.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of this that is technique that's going to get easier as you do it, right? So I know probably from first project to now, you all feel like experts, but I remember that very first day. So especially with Ivy, Judith, and Alex, that first day when we took it out of the chemistry lab and into our labs or into our hands, it was an interesting day, but by the end of it, we felt we had it, right? Yeah. All right. So I do have someone who's saying, when you look at Sublijet, when you look at Chromoblast, they have both. If they were to invest in getting a VersiFlex, what would they be adding? What could they get that they're not currently getting?
I'll talk about that one. uncoated hard surfaces for one, but also I know Chromoblast is designed to where you're not supposed to weed it, but you probably should be trimming it down. There's a little bit of a film on the background, and even though it's transparent, it's still kind of there. Not so apparent on white, but once you start going into your lighter colors, like your athletic heathers and stuff, then you start noticing the film, the imprint of the sheet of Chromoblast. So the big difference with VersiFlex is there's zero background, zero border, zero need to cut or trim. So even though with Chromoblast, yes, you did have the option for cotton, the product with VersiFlex is just so much better. So it's an improved product on cotton. And then uncoated surfaces, I mean, that's just a whole new world that if someone who already has Chromoblast and Sublimation, they're gonna be adding that. So an improved cotton product, and then uncoated hard surfaces, which is basically the entire Hobby Lobby, pretty much. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because I mean, I think you've all probably heard of the hack where you can use a lamination sheet and put it on wood. And so you don't need the hack anymore. It's just automatic, and there's so many things we can do. I've already started joking, Jared, with you that we're going to see a lot of VersiFlex wood ornaments this Christmas.
Yes.
I think that's going to be the trending thing.
You can buy them at my shop. Oh, all our shops probably.
All right. So someone asked, do you need a specific kind of heat press for VersiFlex?
Yeah, go for it.
We have a different heat press.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that when we were here testing, we have this professional heat press. And so when I went home, I was like, well, there's like other part of us that have like auto press. And so I know we can't like do the pressure exactly how you do it with the other ones. So just being able to use that and know like just you have to figure out like how to manage a little bit the pressure, but just being able to do it regardless, it is just it is magic.
We add on to that, if I may. So one of the things that we found when we were testing it was that we also tested the actual heat on the heat press, and we found that the number on the display is not necessarily the number that's actually of the temperature. So if you start this and you try it and it just doesn't seem to be working, it may be that your heat press display is not 100% accurate. So with sublimation, it's like the hotter the better almost, right? With this, above a certain temperature, the expander starts to evaporate and then you can't peel your paper. So if it isn't working, first thing I would say try is higher pressure and lower heat, because it might be your heat press kind of making it hard for you.
Now, Joel, you've done a repress, right? How has that worked for you? Has that kind of helped with some of those issues?
Yeah. So for me, for wood, what I've learned is that I definitely need to go ahead and when it says hot peel, I need to make sure I hot peel it. You do not want to leave it you don't want to do a cold peel, medium peel, or anything. You got to make sure you have your gloves on and really hot peel on an actual wood. For cotton, I did actually repress, and what I did was the tip that I did was, again, I got my little corner that I folded in the actual VersiFlex film. And when I lifted and I swung away, I actually peeled away, and I did leave some residue of the actual VersiFlex on there. So to actually fix that, what I did was actually put some heat tape over it, made a little fold at the end, put my parchment paper down, put it down, reheated it up, took it, swung it away, came right off. It was perfect. It was awesome. Yeah. So that was my tip.
Awesome. Alex, did you have something that you wanted to add?
I just wanted to add to the question of washing, kind of real world example again. When it does start wearing, it wears like a screen print. So it actually looks cool. It looks like, oh, now it's like a vintage kind of print versus, again, DTG, where it just kind of cracks and peels off. So the VersiFlex, when it washes, starts getting that subtle kind of craquelure, if that's the word, that actually looks really good, and kind of it's an aesthetic thing versus like, oh, something's wrong.
Yeah. So, with the dark fabrics, you can do print and cut. So you are able to do that. Any sublimation heat transfer vinyl works for that, correct?
That is correct. So that is a thing, right? Like before we just use the Easy Subli, and so we're you still be able to use the Easy Subli, but since we're able to do, and I haven't tested, and that's one of the things that is on my top list to do, is just put it on any vinyl. Just try it on any kind of vinyl. Before I used to just do it like on glitter, Easy Subli, and I know sublimation will work perfectly with those, but before we weren't able to do with any other vinyl. So that's one of my top list to do, and I can say that it will work. So, but I just need to try it out.
Do any of you have any other tips and tricks you want to kind of throw out there before we go today?
I would say a tip, not so much for application, but give yourself some grace, especially if you're just learning. All of us, we kind of mentioned, or I think except one, we all kind of messed up at first, and it's part of the learning process. As you're learning a brand new professional process, you can't expect to be perfect first try. We all had to learn how to drive. We all had to learn how to heat press other things and do other print methods. We all had to learn even Canva or Photoshop or whatever you're learning. You have to be a little bit bad at first. So give yourself some grace. Be prepared to have some extra transfers and blanks on hand, so you can get the feel of it, get used to it, watch everybody's tutorials on it, and then you'll be able to, get it faster. But give yourself some grace at first.
Let me add on to that too. So, and actually, I wish I mentioned this earlier when you were talking about cost of ownership, is we're so used to a higher price blank, right? So I don't like polyester shirts. So I've been using tri-blend for a long time. Right? A tri-blend blank is like $6 to $9, right? Cotton is like $2 to $4, right? Yeah. So when you consider the cost of the system, there's a lot of savings on the back end when you're actually producing stuff, especially if you're producing it for a sale.
Yeah, great. That's a great point. That's actually a great point. One of the things that I just want to make sure people know is actually, so for me, having different hats and using different machines. When I had to get the VersiFlex, I was actually afraid of learning a whole new software, and there was no new software to learn. I just use the same software that's always been taught to me. And I was like, okay, so great. Designing is easy. Okay, fantastic. Great. Print, great. We hit the print button. And Sawgrass made it really easy with the whole presets. It says, you know what, cotton, uncoated wood, uncoated metal. It was great. It was fantastic. The only difference was the print side, which I had to readjust my head saying, oh, okay, you know what? I need to lower my heat, adjust my pressure. That was it. I was like, okay, well, that wasn't that hard. It only took me about an evening to figure it out because I already had the software already set up in my head. But that was it for me.
Thank you all for joining us. It has been an absolute joy to experience VersiFlex with you, play around, get some new tips and tricks too. So thank you all. And please check out everyone's pages and socials. They have lots of tips and tricks and great tutorials for you too. So thank you all for joining us today. Bye-bye.